Welcome to True North Nation. This was brought to you by Solid Rock Church in Irving, Texas, where we bring you true direction in a lost world. Now let's hear it from our host, Pastor Ed Snyder.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the True North Nation. We are so glad that you have joined us. Thank you to all of our loyal listeners that are with us each and every week. Help us to grow our audience and share this episode with somebody in your social media network or your friends at church or whoever. We're excited again about what God is doing through the True North Nation. Today, we're going to be covering another chapter of the Control the Beast, stemming from the survey that we put out months ago about what do you want to hear on the True North Nation. Today, we're going to be talking about don't play games with the beast. So grab something to take some notes with, grab a cup of coffee, and we'll be right back. And we are back. Again, thank you for joining us today, and we are super jazzed about being with you again this week. Pray for us here in the Dallas area. As you know, a week or so ago, there was a horrible incident in Allen, Texas, the mall shooting that took place where adults and children were shot and killed. It's been a bit of a situation here that's literally 30 minutes from where I am sitting here in the Dallas area. Our world's lost their minds, but we as a church need to rise up and pray like we have never prayed before, fast like we have never fasted before, and of course, share the gospel of Jesus Christ to any and all that will listen. So again, we're facing some dark hours, but brighter the light in the dark hour. So Jesus is going to win. Anyway, here we go. Don't play games with the beast. This is information that we're sharing, of course, from our book called Control the Beast. And it is stemming from a survey that we put out on our social media platforms to all of our friends, family, listeners. And what do you want to hear next on the True North Nation? And you picked the Control the Beast. You wanted to hear more of this. Go to our Facebook page, click into the private group, and let's have some conversations about each and every episode that we do. Also, while I'm at it, before we dive into our content, if you would like to help support the True North Nation, we've got some goals and we've got some plans ahead of us that we want to be able to expand the base of what we do here at True North. And so we're going to need some financial support. And if you'd like to jump in on that, we would love to have you. Hit me up on the Facebook page or on my Twitter account. If we have your email address on file, then we're going to be sending some emails out with a link so that you can grab a membership with the True North Nation and help further project the effectiveness of what we do here at TNN. So again, very excited about you joining us, and let's get into this. So this lesson that I've taught for many years, and of course, it's actually chapter 6, I believe, of the book, Don't Play Games with the Beast. Today, we're going to be talking about how to diffuse negative emotions. Now, when we say negative emotions, that means a lot. That could mean being depressed or down, feeling a little blue, feeling fear, anxiety, whatever comes under the banner called negative. And of course, anger is one of those negative emotions that we all deal with from time to time in our life. Anger, of course, is an authoritative energy source. A lot can change for the good if you redirect anger appropriately. So anger, yes, is identified as a very strong, authoritative energy. It is also identified as a very negative emotion. However, when you redirect properly and appropriately, anger can be a tremendous propelling into something good. So think about that. And of course, if you'd like to talk to me a little bit more, again, shoot me a an email, a text message, something on Twitter, and I'll send you a link. We'll schedule some time on the calendar and we'll talk about it. So, sometimes that negative emotion is expressed at opposite ends of the spectrum. It could be shouting loud. It could be exchange of negative statements, or it can go silent and we turn within ourselves. We don't say nothing to nobody. We feel deep and we feel dark, which either way can be extremely dangerous. So we have to really be honest with ourselves and take a close look at the damage being done inside of ourselves, as well as those that are around us, in relationships, in property, whatever the case may be. Another thought we need to consider is, for us to function in a civilized society, it is absolutely necessary for us to be in control, to manage our emotions, especially that of anger. Okay. Again, early on, I made the statement. It's in the book. It's recorded here in TNN. And that is, if you're not in control, you're being controlled, whether that's fear, depression, anxiety, anger, whatever. If you're not in control, if you don't have your hands on the steering wheel and you are strapped into the driver's seat and you are guiding the way, then you are being controlled by outside forces. So we've got to take a look at that. And to be honest, this is an extremely important to those that are close to you, because they always catch the negative side of our emotions. In other words, especially in the arena of anger, we always hurt the ones that we shouldn't hurt at all. So let's dive in and let's identify and diffuse these negative emotions. Now, we're going to talk about a 9-stepper, 9 steps to managing negative emotions. And of course, number 1, listen to your body. Take a note of that. Listen to your body. What is your body reacting to that's going on in your emotions? Okay. This is the very first step physically of identifying what's going on. Are you withdrawing? Are you being aggressive? When a storm starts to brew, there are signs that the storm is brewing. You look out, the clouds are starting to turn dark. The wind may pick up. Sailors are experts at this. Some of those signs, that the formation of weird looking clouds, the temperature drops suddenly, humidity rises, and oftentimes there are an ever so slight, but and a lot of times it goes unnoticed, but a storm that is on us before we know it. We can actually feel like a static electricity before lightning strikes. So again, there are signs, big and small, obvious and not so obvious. So here are some of the physical signs that a storm is brewing. Now, I'm going to lean on the outward expression, because the inward expression of a negative emotion, of course, is, you going silent, and you're cutting off relationships, and you are kind of becoming a hermit, not leaving your house unless it's absolute necessary. Conversations that you used to enjoy having, people that you once enjoyed having around, you've cut all that off, and that is not good. All right. But the outside, going the other side, the other side of the equation is when we are aggressive and we're feeling that anger. Your face gets flushed, feels hot, and or we turn pale. The blood just drains from our face. That's a physical sign that their storm is brewing. And of course, then your heart starts beating faster. Your jaw clenches. Your hand clenches into a fist. You jump up to your feet. Adrenaline is starting to flow very quickly. You feel your stomach starting to churn. Your muscles begin to contract. There are other signs depending on the person, but you get the picture. When we learn these early warning signs, you can begin to diffuse the process before ugly really comes out. Remember, it's your body. And when you learn to listen to it, you can avoid a lot of negativity in your life. Number 2, think it through. This is an area that we don't really exercise, and that is both inward and outward. If we're turning inward and we're going silent and we're cutting things off, we're not thinking. We're not thinking about how unhealthy it is for us to stay in our room or our house and not associate. We're not thinking when we start running our mouth without our brain in gear. So we have to intellectualize the situation. Think about what's going on. Be honest with yourself. Why is this happening? But also, and very important, you have to realize there is a problem developing, and it centers around you, not anybody else. We can get into the blame game, blame everybody else around us, but the real situation and the one that needs to be in the driver's seat with her hands on the wheel is you. Okay. Now, with that thought in mind, you have the power to stop the problem if you simply just think it through. Now, let's realize that 99% of the time, when you get into a situation, our mouth is running full bore and our brain is in neutral. When you think about what is happening as it's happening, that means you're in the driver's seat. You're strapped in. Your hands are firmly on the steering wheel. You're guiding the situation. You're there. Now, this empowers you and gives you control over the situation. And one other point, often we react to an event that's not even real. Okay. Now, I talk about this a lot because, this is a common mistake where we allow our minds to create something that does not exist. Why? Because we're riding on the wave of emotions and not facts, not reality. We're in our imaginary world because sometimes we become victimized in our own head. We're not really a victim, but we think we are. And that's a problem. So we've got to, you understand about the second step here in these 9 steps is think things through and be honest with yourself. Okay. Become clear with what you're dealing with. Fact and not fiction. Okay. Suspicions are not justifiable when facts are present. We can suspect all we want. We can think they're talking about us, or I feel like they don't like me. Well, do you have any facts to back that up? Okay. Again, just food for thought. Okay. Number 3, stop the flow. Okay. Stop the flow. When a wildfire is in full force, it's out of control and it's destroying everything in its path. The fire can jump literally across the road, across the pond. The uncontrolled flow has got to stop, and it ceases to spread when you discover the direction that it's heading. Now, to fight a wildfire, once you discover what direction that out of control fire is going, then it's your job to run ahead and burn everything down in its path. Because when the wildfire gets to where you have been, there's nothing left to burn, and it will literally extinguish itself. So you eliminate the threat. You eliminate what could be. You burn it to the ground. And then when the emotion gets there, there's nothing to go on. All right. Now we've established that emotions are either positive or negative. We've done that in a recent episode just a while ago. So it's either positive or negative. Anger identifies as a very potent negative emotion. And if a loved one is involved in the situation, remember this is temporary. Okay. Remember how much you love your family, you love your friends, and why you love them in the first place. You do not have to deal with the situation immediately. Remember that. Make a note of that. Write that down. I do not have to deal with the situation immediately. Stop the flow. Okay. Just walk away. and think it through and breathe. Okay. When Gail and I first got married, she told me that if she gets mad, of course, I've told you in past episodes and when I was a guest on other podcasts, I always tell this story that when we got married, she's from an Irish descent. I'm from a German descent. I'm a hardhead. There's a reason they call them the Fighting Irish. So she told me when we got married, if I get mad, just leave me alone. Let me cool off. Let me walk it off, and then we'll talk about it. We'll get a resolve because we made a pledge. We're never going to bed mad at each other. We got to get it fixed. So, but of course, back then, I felt like it's essential to fix this right now. We can't let this go on. We can't let this fester. I don't want this to become something that it's really not. So let's deal with it right now. So for 10 years, I chased her around the house trying to resolve a situation that all she wanted was some space. And so it created some very spicy conversations. So again, folks, stop the flow. In fact, just a side note, real quick, funny story. Finally, one night we were having a discussion and she stomped off and I said, okay. And I just stayed right where I was. Few minutes later, she comes back. What's wrong with you? Why ain't you chasing me around? I said, well, you told me for 10 years to leave you alone. So now I'm leaving you alone. Now I'm in trouble for leaving you alone. Anyway, we finally got it. Number 4, help yourself. In any case you find yourself in, especially when it's charged with a negative emotion such as anger, remember, you are the leading player. Okay. You're the main event. Anything you can do to diffuse yourself for someone else will be beneficial to you and to those that are around you. Okay. Some of the things you do at the point is walk off your anger. Okay. Just excuse yourself and go take a walk. Go get some air. Think it through while you're out there. Some take deep breaths and your body begins to relax and you start getting things under control. Remember, if you hurt someone else, you will be the one suffering in the end. You will experience the damaged relationship, and it takes conceivably longer to repair than it takes to do the damage. So you are always the one that's the main player. You always have to have a way out of confrontation. The power is in your hands to control, to walk away, to breathe, to think it through. You can turn this around and make it a compelling, positive event instead of a damaging one. So remember that. We got to help ourselves in this situation. The book of Proverbs says, a wrathful man stirs up strife, but he that is slow to anger appeases strife. It also means he who is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that rules his spirit is better than he who takes a city. Honor is earned by those who control or manage their negative emotions. Why is that? Because you can do it. It's not an easy task, but another benefit here is that it is a great self-esteem builder. Once you realize that you can take control of your negative emotions, i.e. anger, and you will have the confidence to do it more and more, and it will become easier and easier as you progress. Number 5, take your responsibility. Man, this is something that I deal with as a pastor, as a coach, all the time. People are scared to death to admit when they're wrong or to take responsibility for their part. This step is an absolute must in controlling the beast in the basement. We all have an understanding of our rights. We've gone through that either the episode before or the before that one. And that's a good thing. However, to control the beast in the basement, you cannot justify your feelings and actions. Understand that they are a result of both physical and mental overreactions to situations you find yourself in. Here's a reality check. No one can make you hit them. No one can make you scream or cuss at them. No one can make you go into an uncontrolled fit. No one can do that. Okay? When you take responsibility for your actions and your reactions, you will find a lot better outcomes than before. You need to tell yourself repeatedly, I know who I am, even if they know who I am or what I am. I know who I am, even if they know who I am or what I am, or better yet, who they think that I am. I know me. I know my levels. I know my abilities. I know my skills. I know what I'm capable of. I know what I'm not capable of. I know me. They may not know me. They may assume they know me. But folks, that puts you even more in the seat of control. We all make decisions that turn into actions. You know, we always want and happily enjoy and accept compliments when we do something that everyone approves of. When we went the extra mile, we performed a duty outside of our job description, or we helped a friend out. You know, we'll take those all day, every day. However, when things don't go so well, or we do something negative and not everybody approves of it, we will see the disapproval of many, if not all, of those that are around us. What do we do then? What happens now? Well, human nature, if we don't learn this stuff and we don't have ourselves under control, we will look for somebody to blame. We will put that off because we don't want that. We'll take the compliment, but we don't want the constructive criticism. And folks, it doesn't work like that. You got to have both. Okay. All right. We got to move forward because I just looked at the clock. Number 6, never turn to violence. Never resort to violence. Violence has never resolved anything. It never will resolve anything. It only makes matters worse. In an early chapter and or episode, we discussed rage and blind rage. You know, that's condition is irrational. So, are we out of control? You know, once you walk into that arena, we don't stop until we're physically exhausted. Okay. How can we control the beast? You need to vent your feelings in a non-destructive manner, like a good workout, a game of racquetball. Sweat, heart racing, sweat pouring exercise, enjoyable activities, walking, jogging, a punching bag. Strap up a punching bag in your basement or garage and go out and beat the fire out of it. It's okay because that's venting in a non-constructive way. Okay. My personal favorite is cycling. I've walked in our house tighter than a tick and my wife gets in my face and said, get your gear on, get on your bike and go for a ride. And I do. And I pound out the frustrations and all of that and feel much better. So again, folks, you got to do that. Some other methods, of course, is you're out alone driving. Scream to the top of your lungs. Take it out. Talk it out with yourself. It's okay to talk to yourself. And in these days, it's okay to talk to answer yourself. It's okay. Have a conversation. Prayer changes things. Have a conversation with God. In the middle of the day, maybe during your lunch break, take a nice walk. Get some fresh air. Change some scenery. Okay. Start a journal. If you're a writer, write it out. Spell it out on paper. Learn to laugh it off sometimes. Okay. Children do that all the time. But when we grow up, we learn to hate instead. So it's time to take a trip back to Never Never Land and be a kid again and learn to laugh it off. Number 7, initiate reconciliation and restoration. At this stage here, we must reestablish healthy relationships, and we have to take the steps necessary to make this happen. You'll be glad that you did. 1, it will make you feel better about yourself. And 2, you will earn the respect of others when you own it, when you take responsibility, and then you initiate reconciliation and restoration. Be the leader and lead this process in becoming better. Okay. Initiate it. I've got in the classes that I teach, and by the way, we're in the process of editing all the videos. We will soon have this training in an online course that you can purchase and have all 12 lessons with handouts and everything. It's going to be a wonderful thing. But in the lessons that we teach on an extended, the online thing is going to be about a 20-minute lesson with some discussion. But when I do the long haul, I use this little thing called nails in a fence. And it's a story about a little boy who had a bad temper. And his father was smart enough that the father gave the little boy a coffee can of nails and told him that every time you get angry, you lose your temper, get the hammer and a nail and go put it halfway into the fence. The first day, the boy had driven 37 nails into the fence. Over the next few weeks, as he learned to control his beast, the number of the nails hammered daily began to dwindle gradually. He discovered it was a lot easier to manage his beast than to drive another nail into that fence. Finally, the boy rarely lost control of his temper, and he told his father about it, and the father walked with him to that fence and told him, now all these nails I want you to pull out of the fence. Take the hammer, pull the nail out, put it back in the coffee can. And each day that he was able to manage his beast, it kept it under control. But finally, he was able to tell his father, the nails are all gone. I pulled all the nails out. They together took another walk back to the fence and looked at what happened in this lesson. The father said, now I want you to take the hammer, pull the nail out. And as you pull the nail out, what's left? There's a hole in the fence. The nail represents your rage, your anger, your negativity. And you drove the nail in. You said something bad, negative, hurtful. But when you pull the nail out and apologize, there's still a hole remaining where the nail was. Damage is always done. What's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is it's easier not to say and not to react than to react and say and try to take it back. That's control. Number 8, as we come to the final moments of our podcast together, and that is neutralize your environment. Once a situation is over, you need to assess the damage that's caused by negative emotions. You need to dig down to the root of the problem or the foundational cause. And remember, you cannot evaluate the event, screaming, hitting, and so on. You've got to have somebody with you. You can't just go with the screaming match. You got to take a step backwards, find the root problem, find what put that root there, and that traumatic situation or that hurtful situation way back in the day. That's what has to be purged and neutralized, and healing can come. Number 9, as we get ready to close this, is get some feedback. Again, when Gail and I were in trial and error 40-something years ago, when she was helping me walk through this journey of getting my anger under control, feedback was very important. I listened to what she had to say. Once you get a temporary resolve, you determine what you did right. Always dwell on what you did right, and then examine what you did wrong and work on those things to make them better. If we flip that and we always get feedback on what we did wrong and we focus on what we did wrong, it's negative. We're never going to realize and celebrate the right because we're too focused on the wrong. Okay. There's that scale's got to get flipped. Focus first on what you did right, what you changed, how you handled it better. And then now you did this, but here's where we can improve. And then you look at the negative side and improve those things. All right. We're out of time, folks. Thank you again for joining us here at TNN. We're excited about what God is doing. If you would, go to Amazon.com and do a search, Control the Beast, Ed Snyder, and purchase a copy of the book for yourself and read through it. It'll go deeper than what I'm able to give you in the 30 minutes that we're together. Don't forget to go to the website, truenorthdfw.org, and click on our free ebook giveaway, 9 Levels of Relationship and How to Handle Toxic Relationships, and grab that free ebook. At the same time, you'll get into our database, into our community, and then we can send you more things and things that we're doing, events that we're planning, et cetera, et cetera. So God bless you. Have a great day on purpose. We'll see you next week.
To find out more about finding that true destination, visit us at truenorthdfw.org.